All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well and teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Ayashar Barazal coming back at you with another video. And this one's going to be pretty much self-explanatory. It's going hand in hand with what's going on with the recent news on Elon Musk's Neuralink and what GMS has been teaching for the longest regarding the CHIP, the M.O.T.B. We got to speak in code. So this is just something that happened in Europe. The video, five parts, 15 minutes, a little over 15 minutes. I stitched them all together, and we know that with everything that's going on over in the so-called Middle East, and with the digital currency, everything's moving into place. As we have been saying, our salvation is nearer than what we believe, and it's about to go down. All right. So without further ado, I'm just gonna let this video play, and just to keep you up to date on that everything is moving closer to this M.O.T.B. Here you go.
Well, I have 3 words for you. Do not comply. In fact, I think we should put them on a redacted t-shirt. Do not comply. Do not comply with this next tyrannical government move, which just rolled out in Europe. We have unbelievable news over the past 24 hours out of Europe that the mainstream media, of course, is totally ignoring the story, which is, I'm sure, a surprise to you. Go to Bloomberg, go to the Financial Times, go to the Wall Street Journal, you won't find the story, which is, to me, unbelievable. Like, aren't they supposed to be covering the financial world? And this is at the heart of it, and they're totally ignoring the story. It could have massive implications for you and your family. Yes, this is about Europe, but it's coming to the United States as we speak because the Federal Reserve is actively working on the very same thing, and the Biden administration wants it. So if you think you're in America and you're safe from this, you're not. This has broad implications, and you should see Europe, frankly, as a cautionary tale because we are watching the EU collapsing in real time. And today we got our clearest sign yet. The European Parliament voted to roll out the digital identification program. Now, the European Parliament and member states just reached an agreement on introducing the digital identity, the EID, which includes a digital wallet. Unless it gets miraculously voted down, which is highly unlikely, unless you somehow, guys, rise up and take action. If you're anybody watching in Europe right now wants to, write to your members of Parliament and let them know that you do not stand for this. But most people will wait until the pain is too great and it's already passed to do anything about it. That's usually what happens. And this will pass, and it will soon take over everyone's lives in the European Union. Now, you have to understand, they are wrapping this in like a burrito of convenience. That your life will be dramatically improved because your digital passport will keep everything nice and neat for you, tidy in one digital ID, right? It sounds great. And that's how they'll sell it to you. Your central bank digital currency, your biometric data, your medical records, all of your personal information, your whereabouts, your movement through GPS, all of it being tracked instantaneously and verified by the government. Of course, most troubling is the central bank digital currency, and that's the big piece of this, the digital euro. Rob Roos, of course, member of the European Parliament, is standing strong against this. He just left the meeting, and he posted this video on social media to warn all of us about what comes next. Watch.
I just left the room where we had the negotiations about the digital identity, and I have bad news. The member states and the European Parliament came to an agreement. It means that probably not far from now, the digital identity will be effective in the European Union. Right after this agreement, Commissioner Breton said, now we have the digital identity wallet, we have to put something in it. And what he meant was the digital euro, also known as the central bank digital currency. And this is a very bad development. They always promise us not to make this connection. And even a lot of experts, privacy experts and security experts, warned also last week this is a very bad idea for our privacy and our freedom. And still, this digital identity is pushed through. But it's not too late, because we still have to vote on this in the plenary. So what you can do, send your MEP from your member state an email and tell him or tell her that you are against this tool.
So that's what we can do, or wait until the pain is there. And that's usually what people do. After it's already passed and is put into law, then people will rise up and complain about it. And then it's too late. So now, if you happen to be in Europe, you can absolutely do something about this. And again, you can also take action now in the United States and let your member of Congress know that you absolutely do not want a digital ID backed with a central bank digital currency. They're moving towards it. And they're taking away cash and getting rid of ATM machines. I just want to highlight something, though, that he said about Thierry Breton, who said that we now have a digital wallet, so we have to put something in it. Right? That was the message coming out of this. And he said absolutely not. And what he means, of course, is the central bank digital currency. We've been warning against this for more than a year now on this show, and it is happening. As Catherine Austin Fitts just said, this is all about controlling everything you do. Make no mistake. Listen.
Where is this leading?
When you have a 100%, what they're shooting for is an all digital system. And if you have a 100% digital system, that can be controlled centrally. And not only can your money be limited to different, geographical areas or spatial areas, but it can also be limited to, sort of what you can buy, when you can buy it. And it can literally tax you without your permission. You can install a system of taxation without representation. But ultimately, Polly, you can implement complete control, because let's say I want to mandate a vaccine. You can't, your financial transaction ability can be turned off. Your access to your financial assets can be denied or stopped if you don't do what you're told.
Just like we've seen with COVID, the government will have the power to track your every move, and they won't have to hide it, by the way, because you've complied with it. Right? You went along with it. You don't have to do this. You can choose not to do this.
And as we've pointed out before, it's going to be an easy sell, because they're going to, first of all, the dollar's getting ready to crash with what you just covered at the beginning of the show. But also they're talking about welfare and food stamps and all the other stuff going through that, and maybe even some kind of UBI. So people are going to buy into this very easily, and I think it's going to be an easy sell here. And then those of us that are saying, no, don't get it, we're going to be the conspiracy theorists that are trying to spread disinformation.
Didn't we in the newsletter this morning talk about the interest on the debt would exceed $50 trillion?
The full debt.
The full debt by the year 2033, I think, is the projection. We're at, 11 or
30?
We're at, excuse me. We're at 30 trillion right now. It'll be 50 trillion in just a few years. So I think you're right about this. By the year 2033. By this universal basic income saying, hey, sign up for this digital wallet. And by the way, every month we'll give you $1,000 as part of this digital wallet experience. It'll be like a universal basic income, like a welfare.
In fact, we signed a contract today with a vendor that we're working with, and it's in the European Union, says that none of this transaction shall take place in cash, according with law number 567, whatever, right? And so already a lot of business contracts over a certain amount they're disallowed from doing any transactions in cash for the purpose of specifically tracking and taxing.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because even beyond this beyond the privacy is your personal civil liberties and the health. If you want to push a vaccine on this and they tie your ability to make or spend money, you'll have no choice but to either get the vaccine or we turn off your money supply. You'll not be able to go through a toll booth. You'll not be able to get on an airplane. You'll not be able to enter this building. You'll not be able to get on the subway because when you scan your digital ID, oh, you didn't get your vaccine, so we can't let you on the subway. Your digital ID will alert the subway operators, not let you enter. He's not vaccinated. The European Union is quickly digging its own grave, and as Natalie just pointed out, it's already made it illegal for you to use more than $1,000 in cash to pay for anything. You can't pay cash for anything beyond $1,000. And of course, as Christine Lagarde has said, she wanted to get it down to as low as $300 in euros. Now, this is an amazing interaction because Christine Lagarde from the European Central Bank thought she was on the phone with a real person. Turns out this was a prank phone call when they got her to admit the truth about EU and cash and how you're not going to be able to use this cash any longer. And if you do use cash, you'll be basically labeled as a terrorist. Watch.
There are many protests in Europe against the electronic euro. What is the reason?
You know, it's the beauty of Europe. It has different positions. If you ask in Northern Europe, for instance, in the Netherlands, they're quite happy to see the e-euro coming. If you ask a young German man, he'll say, yeah, fine. As I said, I don't want Meta, Google, or Amazon to suddenly come up with a currency that would take over the sovereignty of Europe. I don't want a foreign currency to become the currency of trading within Europe. So we have to be ready.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to...
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you're on the grey market. So you take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail. But, you know, the digital euro is going to have a limited amount of control. There will be control, you're right. You're completely right. We are considering whether for very small amounts, you know, anything that is around 300, 400 euros, we could have a mechanism where there is zero control. But that could be dangerous. The terrorist attacks on France back 10 years ago were entirely financed by those very small anonymous credit cards that you can recharge in total anonymity.
Ah, so it's terrorism. I mean, just imagine just think about the balls on her to do that. You're on the gray market. You're a terrorist, essentially. You're going to be on a terrorist watch list if you pay $1,000 in cash, and we really want to get it down to 300 because, you know, you're a terrorist.
Or a plumber.
Or a gardener. Or
a hairdresser.
Or a babysitter. Or someone who's made tips, you know, or you're, you know.
Did that prank caller convince her he was Zelensky? Because that's what it sounded like.
I think, yeah. If memory serves, I think she thought she was talking to Zelensky. I think that's who it was. Yes, Christine, I understand. That's very good. Yes, terrorists, stop those terrorists with your $1,000 threshold. I mean, it's amazing. And people are allowing. She's like, oh yeah, Germans would be fine with this. Germans would be fine. People in the Netherlands would be fine with this. How many people watching from the Netherlands right now? Let us know in the chat below. Are you fine with this? Are you watching from Germany? Are you fine with this? Just allowing.
I think Germany would remember what happens when their government has total control. You think, well, like something would spark up there.
Of course, you have to remember that those individuals were voted in, and they were voted for, and they won an election. So we always need to remember that. But people, you know, it's sort of like a Trojan horse. People don't remember how big this actually gets. You vote certain people in, you think their policies are good or whatever, and then suddenly, wow, look what happened here. And this is like an unelected, basically, group of European parliamentary leaders who are, you know, superseding your statehood. So it doesn't matter what you think in Germany or the Netherlands. It matters what the European Union thinks.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the Nazis didn't run on a campaign of Holocaust.
Right.
Like, this is what we're going to do, right? They made big promises a lot like this.
So I want you to listen to this. This is Augustin Karsten. He explains how these CBDCs will control everything you do. And this is a 56-second video. He's from the Bank of International Settlements. Okay, he's not on your side. He's not on your side, but he's explaining how exactly this is going to be implemented and rolled out. It's terrifying. Watch.
Our analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of the general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash, and there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also, we will have the technology to enforce that. Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
Yeah. Great. So, Europe, you have a chance. You have a choice right now, as Rob Roos just said. Like, you can call or email your member of parliament say you do not want this digital ID system, which is tied, which will be tied to the central bank digital currency, or you can allow it to roll out. Go ahead, David.
There might be a positive to this, because if they're trying to get it so that this stops the funding of war and terrorists, maybe that means they're going to let us have 51% of our money back, our taxes, because we're funding the United States empire. So maybe like, well, no more funding war. Yeah. Hey, you get 51% of your tax money back.
I would sign up for it if the $1 trillion per year defense budget was eradicated and it went back to the citizens. Like, they're like, hey, you know, every month we're going to be able to provide you with this, and it'll fix roads and bridges and schools, and you know, we'll make sure that everything, your police departments are sound and your border is secure. Take that $1 trillion. No homeless, yeah. Well, no tent cities on the side of the road. No fentanyl crisis. We'll secure the borders. We'll do all of the. No, they're not going to do that. They'll just keep printing money, and they'll throw it into a digital account, and it's all fake, phony money anyway. Well,
All right. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16, and verses 16 and 17. Verse 16, and it reads, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a M.A.R.K. in their right hand or in their foreheads." All right, now they're, talking about they're going to have a chance to get with their parliament and refuse this. No, the scriptures say he causes all. That's the whole world, and it is coming to America. Like I said, a bunch of videos going on now. Okay, the this is going to happen. This is prophecy, and it has to happen in order for our Lord to come back, Yahushua, with that fleet of chariots to save his elect from the four corners of the earth where we were scattered. Okay, this has to happen. All right, there's no getting out of this. All right, prophecy will come to pass according to Isaiah 46 and 10. Lord said he declared the end from the beginning, roughly paraphrasing, and his counsel shall stand. So yeah, this is going to happen. All right, and it says they're going to receive that M.A.R.K. in their right hand. We already know that the RFID to the C-hip is already here, the M.O.T.B. Okay, in their foreheads. You've seen the recent videos. People willfully going to get Elon Musk's Neuralink, implanted. And that's where we are. All right, verse 17, and it reads, "And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the M.A.R.K. or the name of the B.E.A.S.T. or the number of his name." It says, and no man, that's that control that they were talking about. Total control of every one of your movements, with respect to doing exactly what they want you to do. For example, they mentioned taking that jump shot. not being able to get on the train because they can check all of that in a one-stop shop. All right. So this is here, Jake. We keep telling you, this is not a joke. This is going to happen. All right. And soon enough, the prophet's going to be taken off the street. You're going to have that famine of the word, and you won't be able to know anything. All right. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying for the body. Once again, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone who were well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth that be like unto the speckled bird. To you I say shalom. Shalom.